Hello?
William Eibling?
Yes?
This is George Reed, and I'm calling from Minneapolis.
Yes?
I'm calling from the University Gallery. I'm helping the University Gallery in an exhibition they're putting together of Minnesota painters and artists during the 30s and 40s.
Yes?
And we'd like to talk to you a moment, if we could, about some of the activity of that time and ask you a couple of questions.
All right.
And I would inform you that I am taping this conversation, to make it a little easier for us to get off the information that you can give us. All right?
Yes?
What the kind of thing we're interested to know, particularly, is art activity in the state of Minnesota connected with the various WPA activities.
Yes.
Can you comment on that, or your recollection of that activity? And we're particularly interested in murals and want to hear a little bit about your Mother Goose mural that is still extant.
My Mother Goose mural?
Yes. Didn't you do one that called Mother Goose?
No.
Well, we in our
I did a mural in the hospital. It was based on Alice in Wonderland stories, but I never called it Mother Goose.
well, maybe that's exactly something we'd like straightened out.
Yes.
Well, somehow we have it in
Well,
our.
I did several other murals.
Well, that's something we're interested in too. Do you remember exactly where some of the other murals you did were?
I most certainly do.
Well, can you tell us a little bit
One
about
was
that?
in the Stillwater, Minnesota High School.
Yes.
And
Do you think that's still there?
Well, I don't know. I asked Josephine Lutz about it. I heard that several years ago there was a fire there, and I asked her, and she said, oh, she didn't know. So I hope it is. It was a very large mural painted in the high school across the proscenium arch. Took me 3 months to just paint it.
Do you remember the year?
1937.
Oh, good. And was that in connection with the WPA?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
it was. It was under the auspices of the WPA. Clement Halpers was the
Yes.
director.
Yes.
And I painted one in Owatonna, Minnesota, in the School for Dependent Children, in their new library building.
And what year was that?
Oh, that, I guess, was, I was around in there.
Yes, about 37, too?
After I did the Stillwater mural, I think.
I see, so it'd be a little later
In
than...
around 1938 or 39, along in there.
Did you have anybody to assist you, or did you do...
No, I did them all by myself.
And are they oil paint? The medium?
The one in Stillwater is a fresco, fresco.
Yes.
The one in Owatonna was in casein, called casein paints at the time, painted right on the wall.
Yeah. And those...
I painted nothing on canvas.
I see.
I painted everything directly on the wall.
And that was your choice. I mean, you weren't told you had to do that. That was your choice.
No, we did. It was my choice. I think all the artists were able to. Well, it depended upon the mural painters. It would depend upon the structure where they painted.
Yes, of course.
They had to, but most, I think, the mural painters whom I knew, Lucia Wiley and...
Yes, we were going to ask you about her.
I think that she painted hers directly on the walls. And what's this chap, Richard Haynes, who lives in Santa Monica, I think his was painted in Fort Snelling, in a big tower there, and I think it was destroyed, much to everybody's distress.
Well, I know we've been looking into that, and that is, in fact, true that it's been destroyed. Yes.
Yes. And I also painted one for the USO in a building in St. Paul, which was rather an elderly building, which I imagine is torn down now, but was for the USO at the time. I painted in that building, also directly on the wall.
Well, do you have any... Yeah, excuse me.
Oh, I was just going to say, I have photographs of some of the things.
Well, that was the next question I was going to ask you, if you had any photographic material or slides. You see, they're going to have an exhibition that will travel around the state showing this activity, and they are planning also to put together a kind of audio-visual presentation where There'll be some conversations with some of these artists. Maybe even some of this tape would be included, and hopefully they will then have slides showing in some cases, the murals today, as well as some pictures, if they exist, of murals of the work actually being done, hopefully stirring up some interest in them, as well as the whole concern for preservation.
Yes. Well, I think that would be very nice, because I do have a feeling that so many of these things were just destroyed. You know, of course, I think the Mother Goose one you're referring to was one that I did first. It was on the PWA, which existed before, and that was in what was then the Children's Hospital, which was sort of under the Sister Kenny. It was for children, and Sister Kenny, do you know about her?
Oh, yes.
You know, she was, they called it, I think, the Sister Kenny Hospital often, too. It was, I think it had been the Lyndhurst Hospital or some such name as that, but it was called the Children's Hospital. I think that's probably gone.
Oh.
Yes. But then I did also, yes, I was going to, did you want to finish?
Well, no, I wanted to ask you, before I forget it, if you'd give me your address so we might have some correspondence in regard to the pictures and so forth.
Yes, because I do have photographs of most of the things. I have photographs of the ones in Owatonna, the Stillwater, and the USO.
Do these pictures happen to show you actually working on them?
Well, yes, the one that I did in Owatonna, I have I'm sorry, I'm not as good looking as I never used to think I was, but when I see myself now and myself with paintbrushes in hand and so on.
Well,
But anyway, I also have photographs of the one I did in the Gaultier School in St. Paul.
Oh, good. Well, because it's very likely that we might like to request some of that, because that's the kind of thing that we want to have in this visual presentation.
Glossies that were taken, I'd be glad to. I don't know, do you know Sid Fossum?
Yes, and I wanted to ask you about that, because Clem told me that he too was in Carmel.
He is he's lived in Monterey. Of course, Monterey is side by side with Carmel. We all run into each other. Sid is in Monterey right now. He's been here several months. They're hoping to find a place to live here.
But do you have any way, any knowledge of how we can get in touch with him directly? If we wanted to call him or write him?
Yes, I have his phone number.
Well, could you give it? Because I called and asked to see if I could find his number and information, and they didn't have it. And I
thought, they wouldn't, because they're staying with a friend, you see.
Well,
if you just can hang on.
I will.
Can you do that?
Yes, I can.
I'll look up and have the number right here in my little book.
Because he, too, was involved at that time.
Oh, yes, he was on the WPA. We often discuss it. And, I'm sorry, just let me look. I'll let go of the phone a minute.
Okay.
Yes, I have it here. His telephone number is 372-0685.
Okay.
Of course, you'll have to get the area code. I guess the
it's
area.
408, I suspect.
408, yes. And the friends that he's staying with is named Mr. Turner, Richard Turner.
Richard.
They're with him in his house, so in case
Very well. Well, that's helpful. But let me ask you a couple more things.
Yes.
One of the things that they're interested to know about is the aspect of the women involved. Did you feel that there were a number of women artists involved, or did you feel it was just a token, or how could you comment on that particular part of it? Of course, it interests people today.
Well, at that time, I mean, there were a good many women artists on the project, too, and seems to me, Lucia Wiley and Elsa Gemney were mural painters, and I was a mural painter. I don't, if you want to know whether we felt left out, we certainly did not.
Well, that's one comment that they wanted to hear whether or not you did, in fact, feel that way. And talking with Clem Harper's, he implied that the women worked just as well, and, you know, they were included just as much as anybody else.
Well, they most certainly were.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a good man. I didn't feel any... I'm sure that there were... I can think of some good many women that were on the project.
Oh, good.
If they weren't on that, there were women artists in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Mm-hmm. Lots of them, very, very good ones. No, there was no such feeling of discrimination at that time, not on the Federal Art Project at all.
Oh, that's interesting to hear, and supports pretty much what we've gathered, too, from the investigations we've done, that in fact, wasn't the case, and that's nice to hear, too, because some people might imply or suggest that was automatically the case, but in this situation it doesn't seem to have been so.
No, there was no, never any thought of whether she's a woman or a man or anything. You know, my mural painting could have been called a man's job, I suppose, but there was no thought of it being called that because we were climbing around on scaffolding and things in some cases. I'm quite sure the Owatonna, or the mural in the Gaultier School in St. Paul, did I tell you
Yes, you mentioned that.
Yes, I know there was a time several years ago when Halpers and Sid Fossum people had to pitch in the teacher in the school. This was a mural that I painted in what was used as a music room in the public high school. And suddenly, as the time went by and the WPA closed, as you know, they were going to the new teacher who wanted the walls painted over pink or something, or yaller or whatever. And it was no thought of the murals that were painted there, you see. So Halpers and everybody had heard this, and they raised a great big furor about it and saw that they were not painted. Can you imagine? But that's what people do.
No, but that's what they do.
Yes, but I just wonder if they're still there now.
Well, we'll check it ourselves.
The Halpers would know about that.
Yeah.
Halpers.
But now, another thing, did you, as one of the artists active at that time in this program, did you feel the program was valuable and helpful not only to the community but to the artists?
Oh, tremendously. I don't know what most of us would have done. As you must know by now, there are many of the artists that are very famous in the East, of course, where people get known, we're all on WPA, and it certainly helped me, and I know it helped many of us in Minnesota.
I see.
And the thing is, it put art on the map, so to speak. I mean, I know the whole Federal Art Project, I think, has made all the difference in this country for people being aware of painting. Certainly nowadays, people who never would have thought of buying paintings buy them and buy from American artists. You know, I mean, which really wasn't the prevailing situation in that during those years.
All right. Well, then, and so your recollection is that it was very favorable, and is not only your recollection, it's still your attitude toward it.
Oh yes, definitely. I think that that was one of the most valuable, and that really added something to our cultural history. I wish it went on, would go on a little more as it does in some other countries. But anyway,
but did you ever do
helped a great deal.
Good. Did you, in connection with this program, do anything other than murals?
Oh yes, I did a good many easel paintings.
And where did they end up, do you think?
Well, a lot of them, I don't know where. I think a lot of them are still in storage and wherever they store them in Minneapolis. I understand from Sid. I'm not much good at hunting around for publicity anymore, but I understand the Minnesota Historical Society bought one, or has one, that they got it on auction. And, well, there were different, but I honestly haven't kept good track of where they are. The people who were the head of the Owatonna school, I know they bought a painting of mine, and which I had time to do while I had to live out there, you see. Things all had to be done during the summer vacations. And, but I doubt if those people are directors there anymore. It's a good many years ago. I don't know, but I do know about the one at the Historical Society. That's just 2 or 3 years ago or something like that.
Oh, good.
But I do know personal friends and people that I know and here and there that have bought paintings, but I honestly couldn't give you the list.
Yes, but you did do, though, in connection with the project, you did easel paintings.
Oh, yes, I did many easel paintings.
Did you do more work on the easel paintings than you did on the murals, or would you say it was about equal?
Well, the murals took a great deal of time, of course, because they were, especially the old time, because they were very large, and they had to prepare the sketches at first.
Yes.
And then do the great big cartoons, as they call them, on brown paper, you know, yards and yards. But no, I did quite a few.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess my.
I think I would. I don't think it took in as much yardage as the murals, but I did a great number of paintings.
All right, but
I wish I knew where they all were.
Yeah. but I guess my question in general is that you did not feel that you did just murals.
No.
When you think back on it, you did both easel paintings and murals.
Oh yes,
Okay.
Because I had some time before I left Minneapolis. I mean, it was after the WPA closed, but I had a big show of my paintings in the Walker Art Center, a great big show, of which I still have a photograph. You can't see the paintings very well, but I marvel myself to think I did that many just for that show.
Good.
Yes.
Did you?
Because I painted all the time.
Yes. I mean, did you have any commissions from the Treasury Department, which apparently was still another activity at that time, where they did things in post offices?
Yes, they did afterwards. No, I never did.
But that was handled directly from Washington, not through Clem and all the local situations?
Yes, I think because I think Lucia Wiley, for one, had a couple of commissions. You'd have to ask Halpers about that. He might know.
Yes.
But I think that she did some after that. That some artists are better at keeping up those connections.
Yes.
I wanted to paint paintings. I had worked on 5 murals and 4 actually, and it's a tremendous. Well, I enjoyed doing it. It's a tremendous job, but my feeling inclines more to the self-expression of easel paintings and watercolors and oils. I did particularly.
Well, why I asked is that we're trying a bit to sort out the activity that went on under the WPA and PWA and the Treasury Department, which is the two apparently at several points were parallel to one another.
Yes.
And we're trying to sort that out a little bit.
I imagine the Treasury was sort of an outgrowth or afterthought of the federal project because it started, but I think perhaps still are commissions like that. I don't know. I'm getting rather ancient now. I wouldn't be up to anything like that or wouldn't want to.
Well, now,
but I know that they do them. I should think Clement Halpers could tell you more about how that worked if that's what you wanted to know. I do know that Miss Wiley did.
Okay, well, very good. Well, now, can you think of anything else that you might want to bring to our attention that we haven't asked about or that you think we might not have realized?
Well, no, I can't offhand.
But you thought that you had good relationships amongst the artists, and they were pulling with the project.
It was a wonderful time.
Yes, good.
Especially there with all of us working. We were centered at the Walker Art Center, and so we knew each other.
And so it was a good time.
Oh, yes, it was great.
Good. Well, now, in regard to the photographs that you mentioned, in that I'm not putting this tape and video audio-visual thing together, someone else is, and I will pass this information along to her, and perhaps she would be writing you.
Yes, do you have it? Would you like my address?
Oh, of course.
Yes. It's my mail. We don't have street numbers in Carmel. We're very quaint still.
Yes.
Well, we know what streets we live on, but my mailbox number is box 6402.
6402 Carmel?
Box 6402 Carmel. And the zip code is 93921.
Okay. Well, we'll probably be writing you a note, and if we would use any of this tape in the thing itself, we'll certainly get your clearance on it and let you know exactly how to be used and so forth.
Yes. Well, that would be fine. I don't think of anything now. Actually, I was sound asleep when you called.
Oh, sorry to have woken you.
Well, it's 10 o'clock here now, but...
well, it's about 12 here.
Earlier, but I'm sort of a night owl, so...
I see. Well, I thought maybe I'd call about noon, thinking that I would get the people. I've called several times.
Yes, well, it's a better time to call. You know we're still home.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time you've taken to tell us all these things, and hopefully, not hopefully, but I'm sure it'll add to the success of the exhibition, and we'll keep you informed as to how it's going.
Well, that's very kind of you. I'm glad to hear from you. I don't know if you would want Sid's mailing address, too. Would that be of any
Yes,
interest?
I'm going to try to call him, but it's conceivable I can't get in touch with him,
Yes.
you know, this
Well, I'm
week.
sure you can. He may be out when you call.
Yeah.
That's the thing that happens sometimes, of course.
But can you give me his mailing address? Is this
Yes,
at the Turners?
I have that here, too. I should have given it to you before. I have to look in my little book again.
Okay.
Oh. Yes, their mailing address would be 1199. It is 1199 Alameda. Alameda. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
clearly?
got it. Alameda.
Alameda, Monterey,
Yep.
California, and that's 93. Wait a minute, I'm getting a little balmy. 93. So what did I say? 93921.
That's right.
They're 93940.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your help.
Yes, and what was your name?
George Reed, R-E-I-D.
Yes.
And if you happen to be talking with Sid and someone from the University Gallery has not reached him, maybe you could indicate that they're doing his exhibition and are anxious to talk to him, and
Yes,
somebody
I will.
would...
I'll probably talk to him today, actually.
Very well. Well, it's likely that I'll call him, but if not, I'll probably be calling him next week.
Yes, well, I'll warn him.
Okay. And I'm particularly, in regard to talking with him, anxious that he might be able to report to us a little bit about the labor aspect of it. Apparently he was interested in the labor union side of it.
Well, yes, he's very, very active, or was, and still is very interested in the mechanics of all sorts of things like that.
So that would be
he was interested in the artists' union,
Yes.
and I used to belong to
Right.
it, too.
And we'd like any kind of comments he'd have on that if he's inclined
Well,
to give
I'm sure
them.
he could give you far more interesting material.
Well, not more interesting, just another part of the story.
Another angle of it.
Yes,
Yes.
that would be our hope in talking with
Yes,
him.
well, I think you do very well to talk to Sid.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for calling, Mr. Reed.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, George.
Hello, Cam. How are you feeling?
Oh, pretty well.
That's good. Is your hip bothering you a little?
Well, it's getting better.
Oh, good.
It's getting better.
Listen, Cam, I'm calling about, one, I'd like to come and see you, and two, in connection with some work I'm helping the University Gallery with, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Do you want to talk about it on the phone, or should I have to come and see you?
Oh, whatever. I have time.
All right, well, let me try a couple of these questions. Maybe you aren't going to be able to help, or maybe you do know. For instance, do you know an artist that did some murals back in the 30s named Andrei Barto?
Baratka.
Yes.
Baratka. Yes.
But is he still living in California?
Yes, I think he is.
Do you happen to know where?
No, but I think that Clement Halpers keeps in touch with him.
You think that Clem would know?
Yeah.
Well, that's a point. I could talk to him about it.
Yeah, I think Clement would know. I know a couple of years ago he was in touch with Andrei Baratko. And Baratko has been doing some religious murals out there.
I see. Apparently he did one in Malacca some years ago when he was here.
That could be. I don't know.
Okay. Well, now, Cam, in connection with your working on the PWAP, the regional thing back in the 30s,
Yeah.
well, can you recollect any of the artists that you recommended, or any of the names of some of the artists that you dealt with in regard to that?
I can remember some of them. That's the PWAP.
Yes.
The first one, which didn't last very long.
Right. Do you remember how many years it lasted, as far as you're concerned?
Oh, it wasn't a year, I don't think.
I see.
There's one name, Louise Belden.
Louise?
Louise Belden. I don't know where she is or anything about her now, but she her father had a Chrysler agency, I think, and she didn't know what she was getting into, and she got on and got her first WPA check.
Yes.
And returned it to the government.
Why?
Made national news. Well, I suppose because the father was a Republican and they didn't need the money for one thing.
I see.
That's the only thing I could figure. Well, anyway, she dropped out.
Yes.
Then...
what year do you think that was?
The year?
Yeah.
Oh, golly, I don't know what year that WPAP was. It was...
34?
Well, it was just before the regular Federal Art Project.
Right. I think it was probably in the 33 or 34.
Yes.
But I mean, that's no problem. We can look that up. I just thought maybe you record. Okay, well, what about some of the other people that you may have dealt with?
Well, there was Klagstead.
Yeah.
I think he has died. And Glenn Ranney, I know he died.
Yeah.
And gosh, we had about 30. You know, if I can remember some of them. Oh, Kopitz was on.
Yes, Kopitz, yes. He's still around, isn't he?
Oh, I think he is, yeah.
Did you think that they generally responded favorably to the program? Was that your recollection?
Yes, they did.
And did you think at that time that it was a good program?
Well, yeah, I did. We didn't know, of course, what it would lead to. It was something entirely new.
Mm-hmm.
And Increase Robinson from Chicago was the first director of the region.
But was in Chicago.
She was from Chicago.
But did she stay in Chicago or did she come up here?
Well, we were in the region that she was
in charge of?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, she came here to see how things were going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think yeah, I said Glenn Ranney was on, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, Cam, were you part of the group that selected the artists? Wasn't that your role?
Yes.
Well, now, how did you select them? I mean, on grounds of quality, or?
Yeah, if they wanted to go on, there was a lot of them didn't care about going on, I guess, or didn't know what it was. But I insisted on them bringing their work, and we had. I wasn't alone. We had. Let me see. Plimpton was the director then, was he?
Yes.
And he was at Hudson Walker, and I think I was the only artist on the committee.
Yes.
And
it was your emphasis that asked them, insisted that they bring in the work so you could evaluate it?
Yes, they had. Yes, before they let them on, I had charge of that.
Yes.
I told they had to bring work because some of them were so amateurish, and that we couldn't possibly have used their work in any way, and that made for a little trouble. A few women who thought they should be on, but they weren't really qualified.
But not serious trouble, just some?
Just complaints, yes, a little.
But you did approve women as well, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there were women on it.
Yeah.
There was one woman, Miss Louise Belden was one.
Yes. Is she still around?
What?
Louise Belden, is she still around?
That I don't know. The father had a Chrysler agency, I think, Chrysler. Then there was Miriam Eibling.
Yes.
She was able enough. And Oh, golly, it's hard for me to remember these people. But we had, I think we had 25 or 30
I see.
in the group.
Well, do you have any recollection, Cam, of how many of those people were women, for instance? Were there 10 women?
No, I wouldn't think so.
I see.
No, there would be 3, maybe 4.
Uh-huh. Well, now, did you, after selecting them, or as it were, getting them past this committee, did you recommend them to do certain kinds of artwork, or how did that part of it work?
No, we didn't specify anything. They could do what they wanted, but their work had to be brought in, either after they thought it was done, or while they were working on it. We met every Friday, I believe it was, in this committee.
Where'd you meet? At the Institute?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Plimpton was very helpful in this, in giving us quarters.
Yes.
And well, I judged the work really, and then, but before I actually approved it, I talked with Plimpton and with Hudson.
Yes.
And they never disagreed.
Yeah. And that worked out pretty well?
Yeah.
But then the work then it was turned over to the government, right?
Yes, it was.
And do you know where it went, any of it?
Well, I guess in the harbor around Baltimore. I don't know. I think it was dumped someplace, just dumped overboard.
Oh.
Well, anyway, I helped quite a few of those artists, like Klagstead. I helped to, and Kopitz too. I helped him, although he thought he didn't need it. But there were things he didn't know, didn't understand, and.
You mean you helped them with advice, or actually their artwork itself?
Yeah, right. Yes, when they would bring it in,
I'd
meet with them, and we'd talk it over, and if there were things that I saw they could improve, I didn't hesitate at all to tell them.
I see.
Because that was my job. And this, well, I don't know. There wasn't anything very much about it. We had a young fellow who was appointed as the lawyer for the group.
Yes.
And just what his job was, I'm not quite sure, but it was something to do with the contact between the project and the buildings where
they might go?
The work was supposed to go.
Yes. Do you remember what his name was?
No, I haven't the slightest idea.
Yes. I see. But
I wonder if the Institute, I don't suppose they kept any records. If they did, they may not have them now.
Yes.
But I think Plimpton kept some records.
I suppose he did. Do you suppose he turned those over at least to the regional thing at some point after it was all over?
I think probably to Increase Robinson.
Yes, I suppose.
Who was the...
Did she do a good job?
Yeah, I thought she did. Yeah. And then she is the one who helped to formulate the Federal Art Project later on.
That grew out of this.
Yes. And she was in charge there, and I remember she wanted me to take it, and I wouldn't. Then she said, well, who would you recommend? And I said, well, I think that Clement Halpers would be a good one. He's had business and office experience, and he's a pretty good artist. And well, she said, a lot of people have said, oh, he would never do. Well, I know what they meant by that, but I think that can be overlooked. He's a little cantankerous at times, but he has executive ability, and he can do this. So Clement got the job, and I was real pleased.
And he did a good job, as I understand it.
Yes, he did. He did a very good job.
Why didn't you want it?
Oh, I've always avoided those kind of things, you know, to take me away from my own work.
Well, were the artists in the area needy, a lot of them? at that time?
Well, yeah, they were, because there wasn't as much, they didn't have any recognition. And they have a little now, but at that time, well, you had to get the Minnesota mud off your shoes.
Yes, yes.
And then you were okay. That is, to a degree.
Well, but Cam, did you specifically get involved in any the production or making of any murals?
No.
Though they did make some around the state, I guess.
Yes, that came later on the
federal project.
Yeah.
I guess that's right. But
and then some of those, in fact, I presume that most all of those are gone.
Yeah.
Kamrosky had a nice one right on the landing in Northrop Memorial, and one of those good landings.
Yes, and they painted over it.
Yeah.
Do you know what year they painted over it?
Well, I suppose it was up maybe 5 years.
Is that all?
Very short time.
But it was a nice one.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, weren't you involved in helping the university make those selections?
Yes. Now.
But that wasn't the WPA or PWA or anything like that, was it?
I think Kamrosky's was. Now, later, just after the federal project, Malcolm Willey, who was, what was he, vice president or something, had a great deal of interest in art, and he proposed a little program at the university of 4 or 5 of us to make paintings of the things around the campus. And I made a number of those gouaches. And I don't remember who else was on that. I wasn't alone.
Yes. But you were one of at least one other?
Yeah. Yes, there was.
And did those works go to the probably to the university gallery eventually?
I think they did. Yes, I think those things are around yet. They're small.
But now is that the same activity that involved you in selecting or helping select artists to do the murals in Northrop?
Oh, they did. I wasn't consulted on that at all.
You were not?
No.
So, you didn't? I thought maybe you had gave some counseling in regard to those works.
No, not at all.
I see.
I don't know who did. Ruth Lawrence was the gallery girl at that time.
Yes.
No, I don't know.
Do you know if those where the money was coming from that was supporting you and those other artists who were doing these pictures around of the university?
I think that was university money. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm quite sure it was. They're of course, I don't. It's been so long, I can't quite recall, but it seems to me that the university had total charge of that, and it was their idea.
And their money?
Malcolm Willey's. Yes, I think so.
I see. Malcolm Willey thought up here at the university and one way or another got the money together to pay you artists to do that.
Yes.
How long do you think that went on, Cam?
Well, I think Dewey Albinson was on, and Glenn Ranney.
Yes.
And maybe Sid Fossum.
Yes. But did
and Klagstead.
Oh, that's quite a few.
Yeah, those.
But how long were you working at it, do you think?
Oh, only. I don't know. It wasn't very long.
Well, was it a year?
No.
Oh, part of a year then.
Well, probably 3 months.
I see. Huh.
They got quite a bit of work out of us.
Oh, good. Now, Ken, have you ever come in contact with an artist named Charles Thwaites, who apparently did a mural down the southern part of the state. And as far as I know, he wasn't from right here. I just wondered if you happened to know about him or hear about him.
Thwaites, T-H?
Let me see if I can spell his name for you.
Well, Thwaites.
T-H...
No,
W-A-T-E-S, Thwaites.
No, I don't know anybody by that name.
Uh-huh.
There was a guy, from Northfield, from Carleton College, an Englishman, who did something for the post office, a post office in
Northfield?
Faribault.
Uh-huh.
Faribault.
Yes. In connection with these projects?
I don't think so. I think he just...
Got the commission?
Yeah. I never paid much attention to it.
Well, Cam, here's another person to ask you about. What about Alex Maisley? Do you remember him?
Oh, yes.
Well, he worked with you, didn't he, in some capacity in regard to some of these committees or something? Or didn't he?
Well, he might have. I don't remember. But he was a student about that time, and a very good one. And he did some very beautiful wood engravings, as well as some paintings. And he went... he is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He had charge of their art department there for quite a long time. Or maybe the teacher's art.
So you mean like the art, what do you call it, Art College of Art Education or something?
Yeah.
I see.
And he was here in Minneapolis just a week or so ago, visiting his parents who live over north someplace.
Yes.
Yes, Al, I know him real well.
And in those days, you knew him as a student. He was in school here studying art.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I'm sure he must have been. Putting things together. Yeah.
Well, Cam, those are some of the questions that they wanted me to ask. Their exhibition is going to deal with that particular period, and hopefully some will be able to reproduce some in photographs and maybe actually some of the works that were the products of that particular time. And it's kind of an interesting exhibition, and maybe I'd like to come and talk to you even further if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. I'd be glad to tell you what I can.
Okay. Well, I'll be in touch with you soon, Cam, and we'll talk some more.
Yes.
I talked with Pearl yesterday, and she seemed to be all right. Is she pretty good?
Yes. She has to be careful of what she does. She can't do as many things as she used to, and she's got to take it easy. And she's changing her diet now, and that's going to help, too.
Oh, good. Well, so all things considered, you two are all right?
Yes, yeah. This thing on my hip is rheumatism or something. I don't know. It's clearing up. The doctors gave me a shot, and...
so it's better?
Yeah. It doesn't bother anyway. I can stand and work.
Well, that's good. And are you still getting some painting done?
Well, you know... Yes, but I haven't been so productive as usual because we had a death in the family. Pearl's brother died.
Yes.
And that is that does a lot to everybody.
Yeah.
We miss him, and it was a long, drawn-out, very difficult thing for him. He suffered terribly.
Isn't it too bad?
Yeah, and the girls went to the hospital every day. And so I didn't do much. I didn't do anything during that period, and I'm really just getting back at it now.
Oh, good. Well, that's the way it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Cam, thank you very much for your help on these questions, and we'll come by and see you.
Well, I wish I could be of more help.
Well, you've been a lot of help already, and if, with your permission, we'll come back to you when we have another question.
Well, very good. Anything I can do, be glad to help.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, Cam.
Yeah. So long, George.
Righto. Bye-bye.